So nice to see you. We will get started here in just a minute. As you're popping on, make sure you have yourself muted and we will get started very soon.
Hey, Jamie, it's Hammond. Just an FYI, I'm going to be off camera as I'm on the road, so I'm online.
All right. Thank you, Hemant. Nice to see you.
Good seeing you.
All right. So nice to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. I am going to share my screen here. And let's get, all righty. Okay. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us for the Use Cases Committee, the September meeting. Please introduce yourself in the chat. It's great to see everybody. Really glad that you're here. I have been out for a little bit. I am Jamie Wiscalis, CIO of the City of St. Paul. We have been recovering from a ransomware attack that happened very late July. And so I have been out of commission for about 6 weeks here. And I'll tell you that being away from AI for 6 weeks feels like a very, very long time. I was in and out of AI when it comes to cyber matters, but to be away from you all, to be away from the great work that happens here, I feel like I have so much that I need to catch up on. So today's committee meeting is really going to be around sharing just some more information on things that I'm hearing that are going on, and then to solidify our work here so we can better share what we've been learning and what we've been collaborating on. So I really encourage you all to be active participants. I will be asking some questions. I know that it can be difficult to unmute in front of a larger group like this, but if you want to answer in the chat, provide commentary in the chat, we always really appreciate it. We always love hearing from you all. So that being said, we'll do our normal agenda. We'll talk a little bit about use case demos. We'll talk a little bit about our use case development. And then I would like to, at the end, form some small groups to talk about some, I think, pretty easy deliverables that we could create based on our work so far that will help us communicate what's been happening in the Use Cases Committee and how we can better support our public sector colleagues across the country. All right, so as always, I'm so honored to work with these amazing committee members, including Hemant, who's traveling right now, but online. Carrie Johnson, Nicole Sterling is not here today. Namrata, thank you so much from the city of San Jose in everything that you do. So we'll start out today with our use case demos. Our September session focused on Darwin AI, which is a centralized platform for organizations to safely adopt, manage, and govern AI tools while ensuring compliance and accountability. I haven't had a chance to rewatch that yet. I heard it was really great. I was able to look at the meeting notes. It looked great. We're providing the link here for you in case you're able to take a look at that. I know before our ransomware attack, I was really keen on talking more to Darwin AI and looking at their platform for the city of St. Paul. So please take a look at that. I can't remember who their public sector partner was, but really great to see them and what they're providing. Our next use cases committee demo session will be on Tuesday, October 7th. We don't have the lineup finalized yet, but we will be sharing that soon so everyone knows what to expect when they come to the table that day. All righty, and I'm just going to be checking the chat to make sure I'm not missing everything. Thanks, y'all. So nice to see you all here. Let me see if I can, oops, sorry about that. I'm just going ahead here. I don't have the link. Namrata, if you could get the link to the demo session, that would be awesome to put it in the chat.
Demo session for Darwin. Jenny.
Pardon, what was that?
The demo session for Darwin AI, right?
Yeah. Yep, perfect.
Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Sorry, sometimes I'm not as great about the multitasking while looking at the chat. Okay, so let's dive into use case development. And again, me being away for 6 to 7 weeks, wondering, what have I been missing? What has been going on? And I know the great group here really focused on continuing our conversations, focusing on permitting and licensing. I know you looked at what was happening in the city of Bellevue last month. So I know we've had a lot that's really been around permitting and licensing. That's a really big piece, I think, of where we see value added when it comes to AI. So what other things are people looking at? The first thing that I just wanted to show is that I am currently at a CIO conference in Louisville, Kentucky. So I do have a lot of really great CIOs to talk to, find out what they're doing. I wanted to start out with this is that someone presented, had done a recent national CIO survey to find out what are the 5 most common public sector use cases. And this is really general, but they focused on here, the CIOs answered, we're working on chatbots, virtual assistants, document generation, summarization, code generation, content creation, and workforce support, and then kind of a jumble of data analytics, translation, specialized use cases. That's where I really want to see where they're going. But just wanted to bring this up to showcase that at the state level, at the local level, this is really where we are focusing on in the public sector. And I know many of you have already either implemented pilots or full implementation of some of these tools. So again, we're really here to support one another and to show that value that we're bringing in. And so that's just on my mind as I'm coming back to the use cases committee, kind of thinking about how do we want to wrap up our year? How do we want to continue to support the community? I also wanted to just showcase a couple of the additional use cases that I've been hearing from my CIO colleagues here for things that have been piloted or implemented in their cities or counties. So things like Copilot Studio created agents that are pointed at financial and contract information. So you can just ask really quick questions. When is this renewal date? How many contracts do we have about X? What is the total amount for these types of contracts? Things like that. I thought that was really great. We're really talking about the utility of these agents and answering questions that some of us spend a lot of time researching and looking for the answers. I'm hearing from a couple people using AI for records redaction. I think that could grow and be pretty big. That's something that I know we would be very interested in seeing how that is being implemented, how that is really bringing value to the public sector. Someone brought forward, they have an AI tool that's kind of doing an empathy check after service desk tickets are responded to really see, where are there ones that don't have a very positive sentiment so they can go back, learn from it, maybe follow up with the user to make sure the next experience is more positive. I've been talking to the CIO from San Francisco, and he's been talking about the Copilot chat implementation they did for 30,000 employees. And thanks to them for doing that, Microsoft has been starting to make changes to Copilot Chat because of the experience that they've had. And one of those changes was, I believe there was a daily limit of 3 files you could upload per day per user for Copilot Chat. And that has since been changed. I think it's now a maximum amount per tenant. But from what I'm hearing, the number of people who are doing it daily, they don't hit the max. So I think that's really great in terms of bringing more value to the public sector with these tools. And then I think it was a county or maybe it was a city in Texas that's really trying to pilot AI for a lot of use cases, and including financial automation, damage assessment, preliminary damage assessments, sewer inspections, and then compensation and job classification. And that's something that I definitely have a lot of interest in learning more about. So just wanted to give you an idea of the things that I'm hearing from CIOs across the country, maybe put some more ideas in your minds. Maybe I'm talking about things that you've already done and you have something to share, which we definitely encourage you to reach out to us. Finally, what I want to share from this conference is that a question was posed to us. It was something around, what use cases should we be collaborating on in the public sector that will provide shared value? And the number one that was on there was records redaction and review. Number 2 was permitting, and that's something that we've been focusing on. And so that's why I really want to work with you all, with us as a committee, to figure out what have we learned that we can share out. Is there more work that we can do to continue to collaborate and bring people together? Other important use cases include contact center, 311 and non-emergency, policy and legislation analysis. That's something that we've worked on and working, showcasing what North Dakota University System had been doing. Computer vision, urban planning, emergency 911, and budget review. So those are just, again, things that I'm hearing, things that people are interested in, and me wanting to come to you all and say, hey, here are some ideas. Here are things that people are interested in, and what can we do to help move some of these things further? So what I want to do is just ask a question to you all. And again, I realize that, this is a big group. You might not want to come off mute. You might not want to put in the chat, but I am just curious, because I've been gone, because I haven't been around for the last 6 weeks, are there any new AI use cases that you've been deciding to pilot or implement, or that you piloted and you learned something from it? Is there anything that you want to share with us to showcase what you've been doing that supports safe, responsible and value-added adoption of AI? Is there anybody out there who would like to share? Anybody? I'm hearing California permitting is an issue statewide. It's a great use case. That's wonderful to hear. I think, just getting, the resources that we've put together. I know that there's a lot of big cities. I know Seattle is looking at permitting, again, Bellevue. So the state of Washington is big. Any other, thanks so much to San Francisco for helping us with Copilot Chat. Are there any other new use cases or new interest that you're hearing about or that you're seeing?
Is this about Copilot in general, or a specific use case that we are implementing ourselves?
I think it could be both. Yeah, because I think that's one of the pieces.
Hi, Carrie.
Yeah, one. Go ahead. Do you have something to share, Grayson?
Somewhat. It's more in the planned phase, not so much executed as of yet, in terms of keeping track of inventory for the fire department uniforms at the warehouse, and creating a Copilot agent and Power Automate flow when new documents are submitted, because they are receipts or they're packing slips, using one of the Copilot agents to discern which paper it is, send it to the correct machine learning model to extract the information from it and create a new line item in a SharePoint as well as having a user-facing chatbot agent, so that way the equipment coordinator can ask direct questions about a particular order, and it can give feedback just by looking at the SharePoint list and looking at the other agents that are internal in the flow. That's
Awesome.
that's kind of what I've been trying to make.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So it's conceptual right now. Nothing has been implemented.
No, I'm currently just training the machine learning model to accurately pull the right information from like packing slips and receipts. But yeah, so it's pretty much in the prototype phase.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. I love it. Absolutely. Anybody else?
Grayson, there's another one with your department that we could share that is not something we're writing. It's something we partnered with a vendor on, but it could grow so much. It's a knowledge management tool, and it's actually pretty close to production for fire, where our SOPs and standards for fire training are ingested, and people can use it either as a study guide, or trainers have the ability to use AI to create tests and quizzes. And it gives them the whole answer key, and it gives them the rationale of why that is a question and why it chose the answer to that question. So when we looked at that, based on some needs of theirs, when we looked at it, we thought, oh my gosh, this could actually go in the field for people that are facilities workers, right? Like they need to look up their HVAC manual, but they're sitting in their truck or they're already on a roof somewhere. Well, instead they go on their phone and go in their knowledge management bot, say, I need to know how to fix serial number, blah, 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 when it does this. And it goes in there and it looks it up and it finds the answer and gives them steps to follow to do some training. There was also thoughts of, this would also be a good PD tool. It could be almost anyone's tool that works from standard SOPs and a knowledge base, especially if they have to travel around to do their job.
Wow. Wow, that's great. I love it. I love it. I mean, you're almost becoming, somewhat of an educational institution there. That's great. And just great ways to provide, easy access to tooling to people who, might not, be online as much, and really getting them comfortable with these types of tools. Wonderful. I'm thank you all so much too for providing in the chat. I'm seeing in San Diego piloting using Google Street Maps view and computer vision to create pothole reports. That is awesome. I'm here with Jonathan Benke from San Diego. I'll talk to him about that. I think in Minnesota, I don't know if Google Maps keeps up with the frequency. Potholes show up in the middle of winter, by the week. So that might not work for us, but in areas where they might take a long time to come about, that's really great. I love that idea. Let's see, what else do we have? Using clerk minutes to create official meeting minutes. That's wonderful. I love that. Let's see, a use case from the UK to speed up planning decisions and permissions. That's great. Let's see, there's Suisun City building a non-emergency incident call agent to submit police reports. Wonderful. I know that, for our PD, trying to find a way to get a lot of those manual efforts out of the way so they can get back on the street is a high priority. Of course, we want to make sure that we're accurate and that we have a human in the loop, but absolutely love that. Any other new use cases that are coming up that anyone wants to talk about here? I see a new one from City of Seattle, intelligent call routing, which is great. All right. Well, I absolutely love it. Thank you all so much for sharing these. I think, a big benefit of us being together is to be able to do that sharing, to be able to learn from one another. I really appreciate you all coming forth with those. I did have an additional question for you all, and I don't know if I'll get anyone to volunteer information here, but I'm also wondering, what use cases are you most interested in? I brought up, the redaction AI for document redaction. You're hearing about some new use cases here in the chat and from our partners about fire equipment, fire training. Are there any use cases that you have on your mind and you're like, why don't we tackle this as the use cases committee? Why don't we develop something? Why don't we pilot something? Why don't we work on that? Definitely keep that in your mind. If you're not ready to talk about that here, please feel free to reach out to me, Hemant, anyone on the committee. We definitely want to keep up with where our jurisdictions are, where they're looking. Anybody have, any compelling use case that they wanted to bring up that they think we should be focusing on?
Hey, Jamie, I just have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm curious if anybody in the group is that, or maybe even potentially interested in waste management or trash recycling, sorting algorithms, and using AI. Anybody even considering that in the waste management process?
That is a great question. Do we have anybody here who is focused on AI in the waste management process or know of any jurisdictions or public sector entities? And if you're not, feel free again to reach out to me or Hemant. If you learn about somebody later on, definitely want to continue staying in touch with that. Hemant, is that something that you all are looking to learn more about, or another jurisdiction that you're hearing from?
So we are looking to do a research on that, and also a jurisdiction has reached out to us to perform that research. So it's like a two-way thing.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm hearing from Steve Carver that the University of Washington has a startup competition with a few submissions in this waste space. That's great to know.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. Anything else there to share? Anything you're interested in learning about? Let's see, at Fresno State, my team just completed a POC for an EduVisor agentic for automating the admission review process for credential programs from a PDF, doc mapping, course description, fetching, and alignment with admission requirements. That's awesome. Wonderful to hear that. All right. All right. Well, thank you all. Please continue to submit your ideas. Let us know what you're interested in the chat. I just have a couple more slides for us, and then we will be asking people if they want to stay after to go into breakout rooms to continue the work that we're doing. So this round, phase 3, we haven't relied as much on use case working groups. That was a big part of phase 2 as we were exploring the various use cases, across internal LLMs, transportation, translation. And we've not had that so far. And so I've been thinking that, based on the core pieces of work, the core use cases we've been looking at, which are permitting and licensing, and then Copilot, that we should spin up temporary working groups just September to November to really highlight the work that we've done here. So before we talk about that, I just want to go into, as a reminder, hey, what have we been working on? So we've had 2 use case sessions talking about permitting and licensing and the various ways that jurisdictions are approaching it with AI. I ran those meetings through AI. I have not fully vetted it with a human in the loop. I've been a bit busy, but these are, the core use cases around permitting and licensing and the operational benefits that pulled through that work that we've done together. So really looking at core use cases around application pre-screening and error reduction, looking at resident-facing assistance, workflow integration, and then payment and process integration. And then, really looking for the operational benefits that include efficiency gains, 24/7 service, knowledge retention, and equity and accessibility. So those are just a few things that were the highlights of our permitting and licensing presentations and work that we shared. So what I would like to do is focus on this question: what can we share with the over 700 government agencies that are part of the GovAI coalition about how AI can streamline the permitting and licensing process? What is happening right now across the country? What are jurisdictions working on? What are they finding that's working well? I think every single time I'm in a space and we're talking about AI, I hear about more people who are working on permitting and licensing. And I think it would be beneficial to all of us if we somehow consolidated that information and then kind of kept everyone in the know about how it was progressing and what was happening. So I'm proposing that we form a temporary permitting and licensing working group with the goal to provide a shareable insight to the public sector on the varied approaches and use cases. So what would this look like? It could be potentially a use case or a case study that showcases some of the specific use case examples, some of the technologies, some of the processes that people are putting into place to see how AI can benefit permitting and licensing. So if you are interested in permitting and licensing, if you're in the middle of doing some of that work, if your jurisdiction or someone near you is, we would love you to spend a little time to join this group so we can share and then, really share out, learn together, continue to collaborate, and then share out with the rest of the GovAI coalition. So that's one of the working groups. The other one is around Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and Copilot. I know that, there are a ton of materials out there about how to use this. Microsoft has really, pushed this forward, but I think we're still learning how can we deploy this in a way that is most useful for the public sector? How are people using it in a way that is making a difference? Some of the things, some of the takeaways from our session on Copilot Chat and Microsoft 365 Copilot, training and governance are critical. Enterprise data protection drives adoption. I know that a lot of us are still struggling with enterprise data governance in that space. We are seeing that productivity gains are tangible. How is that? How are we getting those productivity gains? How are we really changing the way people work? Supporting, confidence building, so we get broader use, and then, really talking about Copilot agents. And already, this session, we're talking more and more about Copilot agents. So that leads me then to the second working group, again, a temporary working group, just September to November, where people who are interested, who have something to share, can get together and come up with, what can we share with our over 700 government agencies that are part of the GovAI coalition about the value, promise, and perils of Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and Copilot? What can we share? So we're learning together and we're getting the most value here the quickest way we can. And again, maybe that is a case study on how it is being used in various public sector entities. Maybe it's ideas of how people want to implement it, tests that they've done, things that haven't gone well. I think I would love to be able to deliver something to the GovAI coalition to showcase, hey, here's a maybe it's a, it's a quick how-to, just something about, hey, try this. This hasn't gone as well. So what I would like to do for the remainder of our time, we haven't done this in a little while, I think, is go into working group sessions. So 2 breakout rooms. One will be devoted to permitting and licensing, and one will be devoted to Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and Copilot. And what I'd like you to do is join a breakout room where you feel that you can provide value, insight. you might want to take on a leadership role, a temporary leadership role, to help us pull together, the most cohesive information about the work that we've been doing and what we recommend as people are moving forward. Maybe it's something that can continuously be updated because, as you know, this is evolving at such a quick pace, something that can be continuously updated to showcase where we are right now in these spaces, so people can just go to one spot. Oh, that's been tried, that hasn't worked, this has worked really well. All right. So that being said, I am gonna look here. We got a couple more wonderful examples here. I am gonna ask Namrata, were you able to create breakout rooms?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful,
And
wonderful.
And Namrata, Hemant, just since I'm driving, I don't think I can join the room. But
No.
so I'll tell you, I'm happy to volunteer myself for any of the permitting use case work group. If somebody wants to involve me, by all means, just ping me. I'll be happy to help foster whatever way I can in that process. So just count me in for any of the use cases, working group or permitting or anything. Copilot chat, even that too. We can do
Great. All right.
Wonderful.
So I'm going to go ahead and
Thank you.
create the breakout rooms, and I'm going to let the participants choose. Hopefully it'll let me give each room a name. Yes, it does.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Namrata. And I'll probably jump to
problem.
both groups just to see if you have any questions. But again, this is a leadership opportunity for those who might want to lead just a temporary group and really help us share what we've been doing together with the rest of the coalition.
That can be something that I think then
The rooms should be open. And do you see a message to join any of the rooms?
Yes,
Jamie?
I
Okay.
see that. Yep. Looks like you got it all set up. Thank you so much, Namrata. So please, if you're interested